Als das sogenannte Third-Party-Grading Mitte der 80er Jahre in den USA entwickelt wurde, war ein Mann von der ersten Stunde mit dabei. Der NGC-Vorsitzende Mark Salzberg hat damals im Jahr 1987 NGC gegründet, musste sich in den ersten Jahren so mancher Kritik und so manchen Nachfragen stellen und hat miterlebt, wie sich diese Form der Einstufung von Münzen zu einem Erfolgsmodell entwickelt hat, welches inzwischen auch in Europa an Bedeutung gewinnt. Ich habe mit ihm darüber gesprochen, welche Entwicklung NGC in Europa und insbesondere in Deutschland genommen hat, welche Innovationen in diesem Jahr noch zu erwarten sind und welche Vorteile eigentlich das Grading für Sammler in Europa bietet.
I would say we feel very, very positive about it, very strong. It seems to me that the European community has embraced certification more and more, and it's accelerated in the last year or two. Our Munich office is expanding. We're getting new space because we've grown out of it. I feel very, very positive about it and optimistic about it. And it's not just German coins, it's all manner of European coins coming in. And it really gives you, I grade while I'm in Munich. We come in for quarterly, I believe, and I've been there several times now. And the quality is exceptional, the variety is exceptional, and I think there's a demand that's developing for certified NGC coins throughout Europe. So it's very interesting because it's very similar to what's happening in Europe. In 1980, prior to 1986, there was dealer-to-dealer transactions. There was no certification encapsulation necessarily. You had ANACs, American Numismatic Association, that would give you a certificate with a coin, and they were trying to standardize grading. PCGS came about with the idea that they would encapsulate coins, and it was caught on like wildfire. Why did it? Because there was a real need for a third party, arm's length, to certify and guarantee coins for their grade and authenticity. It eliminated the personality and the dealer-to-dealer transaction and dealer-to-collector transaction, and gave comfort to people that their coins were looked at by world-class graders and backed up. So it caught on. 87, I was a top grader in 86 at PCGS. 87, NGC opened up, and we decided to do it completely arm's length. I got out of the coin business. I was a major dealer. We decided that we didn't want to have any conflicts of interest, which was a major decision at the time because I was doing a lot of business. But I wanted to start a family, and I wanted to be home. I was dealing, and I was traveling 40 weekends a year, and it wasn't conducive to a good raising a family. So we opened NGC, and it's been a hit ever since. And it's pretty similar to what's happening in Europe. And the reason that it's happening in Europe now is because raw coins are being sold and then getting certified by NGC, and then they're being sold in auction or on the internet, and they're bringing multiples of what they would otherwise. So a raw coin versus certified, there's a tremendous amount of difference, and sometimes multiples, and that's getting noticed finally, which took years and years, and I still don't understand why, but that is what's happening. What happens when a coin is certified is that you now have essentially a artifact that's high tech. I mean, you can search for it on the internet. There we image the coins. We have a guarantee on the coins, and you're part of a community where you can register the coin and you can compete to build collections. There's a wealth of information with population reports. There's price guides, and then there's the registries, which are an incredible tool which gives you a blueprint of how to build collections. So we have billions of dollars of coins in our registry of obviously collector coins, people that have put up collections, and it's been just a great success. So from the U.S. perspective, U.S. coins are strong and they've been growing, and literally 95% to 99% of the coins get certified before they're sold. In Europe, it's probably the opposite, and it's going to, to me, it will continue to grow, and there will be more and more certification. It's obvious that the time has come. People want it. It makes them feel comfortable. So that's the answer to where NGCs come from. But in order to understand a little better, we've graded 42 million coins since '87. We've opened up duplicate grading services, paper money guarantee, which is over 5 million notes, comic book guarantee, which is over 5 million comic books, and we have numismatic conservation, which conserves coins. We're the only ones in the world that do that. We did it with Smithsonian coins, and we recently opened a company called Collectibles Authentication Guarantee, which certifies estates, and our first estate was the Neil Armstrong collection. So we're around, we've been around, and I think we're going to apply these tools to the European market. We have been, and it's catching on. I'm very, very optimistic about it. Well, essentially, we look at a coin when it comes in for grading. We're looking at authenticity. We're looking for alterations. We're looking for added mint marks. We're looking for PVC, polyvinyl chloride on the surface. We're looking for things that are detrimental to the coin. We're looking, of course, then we get to grading. So we're making sure the coin has its integrity. We're making sure it's appropriate to certify. Once we determine that it's authentic and that there's no alteration or there's no added mint mark or what have you, then we start looking for grade. And the difference in grade can be significant in terms of value. So there's a lot of things that go into grading: eye appeal, strike, scratches, wear. There's a number of factors. But as I've told people in the past, grading is a language that we're trying to communicate to people. We grade on a 1 to 70 scale. 60 to 70 is the uncirculated grades, and 70, of course, is our definition of perfection, and those are basically ultra-modern coins. So that's a significant benefit, is that we grade and authenticate, but then we encapsulate, and once it's encapsulated, it's sealed, it's sonically sealed. We guarantee the coin, and the information contained on that label is all important, right? So you have the date, you have the mint mark, you have the variety, you attribute it to potentially to a collection. It could be pedigree to a major collection. All of these things are communicating the value that a coin has, and you do it in a very nice package that we've done 42 million times, and then we image it. So let's say you're in London and you're looking at a coin and that was graded in the U.S. or at one point, or you want to know that it's 100% NGC and hasn't been altered. You can go online instantly and tell that coin, because of the image that we take, that it's the same coin. So it gives you comfort. When you have comfort and you have a third party that's been around like ours for so long, you feel better about what you're buying, and you're willing to, and the human nature is to buy the best. Now you want to buy what you can afford, and you might want to complete a collection of circulated coins, which is great, but whatever, it's all relative to your pocketbook. But most people want the very, very best of what they can afford, and then they can go and compete online and meet other collectors. Today it's a whole new world, and it's the way it's being done across all categories. So the value in it is significant and has been proven. And I can give you even more examples. So the least amount of friction and the least amount of returns for any auction are certified coins. If you go to eBay, they love us. If you go to Heritage, they love us. If you go to Kunker, they're getting more and more success with certified coins. And we're now into ancient coins, which is an area that we don't guarantee. But the reason we don't is because no one can tell you whether that ancient coin was made 500 years ago as a counterfeit. However, it's so much better than what you have today. What you have today is dealer to collector transaction. You have nothing backing it up. You may have a great reputation, God bless you, but that's great. What happens if the dealer goes out of business? What happens if the collector fades away and he has these coins in his safe deposit box and his kids get them and he doesn't know what to do with them? If they're certified by us, he can then take them, go online and instantly figure out within a few seconds what to do with them, what they're worth, what he has, because we do all that work for you. So there's estate planning that goes into this. There's all manner of reason to do it. And dealers that don't do it, fine. We're not forcing you to. We're just a resource here showing you that certification is added to a very, very broad market worldwide. It's not just Germany. It's not just the United States. If you go to an auction and you go online, there's people bidding from all over the world. And you want that. I think that's what people want. You want that. That's what the internet's about. This is what we talk about every day. And so we're creating tools that make people feel comfortable. We have the least amount of conflicts of interest. I don't buy or sell. I buy a coin here or there to put away in my collection. But on a commercial basis, we don't buy or sell. We prohibit it. And we've been doing the same thing for 31 years. When we look at a coin, let's talk about a European coin. First of all, you have to have a frame of reference. What does the very, very best look like? So we have people here who have been working with us for 25, 30 years. We have broad knowledge and a deep knowledge of how that coin should look in the finest grade. And then we sort of subtract from there. But let's talk about a mint state, minimum grade mint state 63 mid-range, and then the higher grade. So mint state 60 is a coin that essentially it hasn't been in circulation necessarily. It doesn't have wear. It could have been in circulation for a day or two or a week or two, but it doesn't have wear. It has marks, but it has luster. It doesn't have wear on the high points. So you have to interpret that as, is it weakness or is it wear? So you have to see if it's really got all its luster. Then you have to look at to make sure that that's the minimum. That's a tough coin to grade, right? Because it could be something that has really bad eye appeal, even though it is uncirculated, but it's a little stained. So do you grade it 60? Do you grade it 61? Or do you net it and call it 58? Now, here's a really interesting thing is, as a dealer, you probably get more for a nice 58 than an ugly 61. So there's a value component built in. You have to understand eye appeal. You have to understand, is this acceptable to a collector? Is this acceptable to a dealer? So we walk a fine line on, is this grade acceptable to both parties? So that's one of the challenges. So we're looking at strike, we're looking at luster, we're looking at scratches, we're looking at edge marks, we're looking at eye appeal is significant. Then you get to the mid-range. So the coin is clearly uncirculated, right? So does it have characteristics that are exemplary? Like, may it have a proof-like surface, a mirrored surface? Will it have exceptional eye appeal? Does it have marks in the wrong places? Like if it has a mark right in the middle of the head versus one in the field, it's a different story, right? You don't want that one in the head. You lower the grade for that. If it's in the field and it's less obtrusive, you might ignore it as a little bit more. So 63, mint state 63 is more of like an average uncirculated. Something that has full luster, it could have toning, but it certainly hasn't been in circulation at all, and it's pretty nice quality. We call that choice uncirculated, 63. So that's a big, broad range. And then you have gem, 65. We call that 65 is where gem historically has been like an investment quality. We call that 65. So you have a coin that has full luster, virtually mark-free, but it'll have one or two scattered here or there. Again, does it have nice original toning, or is it heavy and dark and it's kind of stainy? That takes it down. If it's pretty color, it takes it up. If it's a very flashy coin, it takes it up. If it's a strike good versus what you normally would expect, it should have a good strike. Good strike. So there's so many things that we have to take into account. So we take all of that and we try to put it in one solid number that communicates that as experts, we see it in this range. We slot it here. That's our frame of reference. Now, when we get an exceptional coin, that is an area that we really take our time and make sure that we examine it very, very closely. Even more so in the terms of, where did it come from? Is it a pedigree coin? Is it a rare coin? How many are there? How many were made? You know, we take into account that from anyway, but now we get a little more more picky on what we'll call 6, 7, 68, 69. Because as you go up that range, the coin has to be getting near perfection. All those characteristics have to be exemplary. So we have developed, not to get too complicated, but what's called a star. A star is exceptional eye appeal or an exceptional characteristic. So that star is given to a very small amount of coins that have crazy rainbow color or deep mirror finishes, where the mirror on the surface versus the high points is mirrored, which is unusual and exceptional. It could be that the coin just has it just says wow to you. And those stars carry a huge premium in the United States. We've applied it to European coins now, and they're starting to bring more and more. That's just another part of communication from experts, my guys, saying this coin stands out. This coin made us say wow in the grading room. Those are very few. But in all of that goes into grading. And it's very hard to explain, to do it in a audio way, but to show you in images, it starts becoming evident. So in the United States, when I want to teach, and I teach the guys in the back, but also when I teach kids or young numismatists, I'll take silver dollars, and I'll take a 60, 61, 62, 63, and you can literally see the differences. It's very evident. Oh, and it takes time. It takes time.